Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power, says Leo Tzu. A cheerful welcome to one and all gathered here. It's my pleasure to extend a hearty welcome to you all for a day 5 session on emotional intelligence by Ms. Anuradha Mahadevan, clinical psychologist, HOD, psychology, Department of Nirman Psychiatric Nursing Rehab and De-Addiction Center, Pune. A hearty welcome to you, ma'am. I now request our director, Dr. Bamini, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to the chief guest for today, Ms. Anuradha Mahadevan, clinical psychologist, HOD of psychology, Nirman Psychiatric Nursing Rehab and De-Addiction Center, Pune. I suppose, although Madam is in Pune right now, she has some roots in Coimbatore. So I'm sure she resonates the feeling of being welcomed back in Coimbatore. So welcome you, ma'am. We're all from Coimbatore and we're happy to have the daughter of soil back talking to us about emotional intelligence. I'm sure our students will definitely benefit from your session and try to emulate the points that you give them today. So I also welcome my fellow faculty colleagues, the senior members as well as my junior members who are here always encouraging the students and always supporting the students in all their endeavors. I also welcome my dear students both from MBA and MSW who have joined us today. So welcome you all once again. Have a wonderful and informative session. Thank you. Over to Catherine.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice words of welcome. To spell out a few words about Ms. Anuradha. She is a clinical psychologist, HOD of Psychology Department in Nirman Psychiatric Nursing Rehab and De-Addiction Center in Pune. And she has over 6 years of experience in clinical psychology. And she is also pursuing her PhD in the same field. She does psychometric and gives therapy to various problems like marital issues, child and obsolescence related problems apart from the clinical psychology disorders. And previously she was associated with Valikati Hospitals, Coimbatore as a clinical psychologist. And there she was taking care of child and obsolescence psychology. And she is also the member of the Board of Studies as a subject expert in psychology and PhD College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. She did her graduation, master's in clinical psychology from Amity University, Rajasthan, and master's from PhD College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. We are honored to have you with us, ma'am. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, first of all, for giving this opportunity because, as I mentioned, I'm in Pune right now, and it really makes me feel great to get connected with kind of people, especially MBA students. So I feel happy that I will be able to contribute something regarding emotional intelligence today. So thank you so much for that once again. So with further no delay, we'll just start off. I'll just share a PPT. Okay, is it visible? Okay. So if we start with this topic of emotional intelligence, this is something that we have heard about it for so many years. It is not about the experience, or it's not about the knowledge they have, or even the intellectual capacity. We've also seen like a lot of brilliant and well-educated people, they struggle in doing certain things or handling certain situations. Whereas people with fewer skills, they flourish compared to people with high intelligence. This we can see almost in our daily life, like managing things at home, doing a lot of things in the workplace, in schools, in institutions, in our neighborhoods. I mean, a lot of times we we see. So have you ever asked this question, like, why is it so? When sometimes people are really capable of doing certain things, why not they are not able to manage some stressful or challenging situations? Why? So when we ask these questions, the answer almost has to do with the concept of emotional intelligence. So again, this brings the need why emotional intelligence is very important. Okay. So to begin with, what is emotional intelligence? We define emotional intelligence or EQ or emotional quotient as the ability to recognize, understand, manage one's own emotion and recognize, understand and influence the emotions of others. Make it very crisp. It's like understanding the emotions of oneself and also understanding the emotions of others. Okay, so it has two components of understanding oneself and others as well. And as I mentioned, it is an extremely important skill to have both personal and professional success. Now let's see what is EQ and IQ. Most often what happens is people mistake EQ with IQ. People think that if somebody is really smart enough to do certain things, or they have high intelligence, or they have charisma to do certain things and all, they think that those people are associated to have like very good high levels of emotional intelligence. But there is no connection between EQ and IQ. EQ cannot be simply predicted by these skills alone. And EQ, it is a very flexible skill that can be learned. Though there are people who are naturally emotionally intelligent, but high EQ can still be developed even if we are not born with it. But that's not the case with IQ. So EQ is not related to IQ. Here I just want to mention about one famous person, I think coming from an MBA background, you people must have heard about Warren Buffett. He's a famous stock investor in the US. So he has mentioned that success in investing, it doesn't correlate with IQ. Once you have ordinary intelligence, what you need is the temperament control. This again gives us the clue like how emotional intelligence is important, and it is not related to one person's intellectual capacity. Also, we have, there has a lot of research done, and there was a comparison between people with high IQ and people with average IQ. So it was found that people with high IQ, they outperform better than people with average IQ only like 20% of the time. Whereas people with average IQ compared to people with high IQ, they outperform 70% of the time. So why is this difference? The answer is simple. It's because of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence plays a very, very critical role. Likewise, personality also, it can't be used to predict the emotional intelligence. Again, people assume like people, if they are extroverts or they are sociable or they express certain ideas in a public place. So all these things are associated with high emotional intelligence, which is again not the case. So this needs to be clear, like EQ and IQ or EQ and personality, these things are not connected. And you cannot predict somebody's emotional intelligence just based on these things alone. One more important thing is, though there is a lot of focus given on emotional intelligence, still there is a global deficit. There was a research done from around 2000 to 2009. around like 5 lakh people were tested, and it was found that only 36% of people were able to accurately identify their emotions, which means two-thirds of people, they are controlled by their emotions. That is, rather than we having control over the emotions are having control over us. So this was a research again that gives us a clue like how emotional intelligence still needs a lot of work and how much it is important. Okay. So coming to the next, as I told, like what is emotional intelligence, why it is needed, and all those things. So when we start with emotional intelligence, the first basic question would be like, what emotions are. So we know that we experience a wide range of emotions in our day-to-day life. Like we feel excited at times, we feel thrilled at times, we feel disappointed at times, we feel furious, angry, frustrated, we feel shocked at times, we feel sad, so on, so on, so on. Like in a day, we go through a lot of emotions. So it really becomes so complex, like, okay, what these emotions are and how to have control over it. Though we experience n number of emotions in our day-to-day living, there are only like 5 core feelings. We are born with emotions and we are born only with 5 core emotions. That is happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and shame. So these are the 5 core feelings. All other emotions that we experience are the derivations of these 5. That's it. So if we understand this, it will help us better to have control over the emotions. So that is why we need to understand that we are born only with 5 core emotions. Though it is only about 5 of these feelings, but still it's easy to get moved on by these emotions, and we forget the emotional reactions we have in our daily life. Like we experience emotion in anything we do. For example, spending time with family, spending time with our friends, while we are exercising, when we are eating, when we are relaxing, and also when we sleep. So any activity we do in our life, there is always an emotion attached to it. So that's how emotions play an important role. Next. So when I spoke about having control over the emotions, this is something important for us to know, that something called as emotional hijacking. As the name says, simple, it is like getting hijacked by emotions. So an emotional hijacking occurs when something in the environment triggers a stress response. This again, we can see it in our daily life. For example, when we are working in a team and somebody is passing a comment, and we get immediately triggered by that and we say something. So a work colleague criticizing about something, a consumer complaining about a company or a product, a partner raising the voice when you are in a discussion or a agreement is going on. So immediately when somebody is trying to trigger us from the environment, the immediate response would be to just react emotionally. That is called as emotional hijacking. And this happens very naturally to us because human brains are wired in such a way that, we are all emotional creatures. So anything that triggers, the first response to something is always an emotional one. I can also explain you, like anything that we do in our daily life is influenced by the thoughts. So the thoughts, it usually enters the brain and then we do it, right? So, but then unfortunately what happens is, when the process is going on, it goes through the area where the emotional processing happens first and then only the rational thinking comes. So people who are low in this emotional intelligence, they get hijacked in this emotional area itself. So the rational thinking is not happening. So that is what is called as emotional hijacking. And we can see this like in our daily life only, like if our parents are telling something like, don't do this, don't go out, why can't you do this, and why can't you finish this on time? The immediate thing would be like, just tell like, Amma, what's your problem? Just leave me alone, I know what has to be done. So you can just see your daily life situations only, how many times you react emotionally to anything, any triggers that happens in your life. So this is called as emotional hijacking. And one more example would be like how many times we express our anger, how many times we behave like out of the way, how many times we really go to extremes, how many times we go disproportionate to the situations. All these things happens because of this emotional hijacking. So we need to understand that emotional hijacking is something that happens quite often to anybody, and we need to have control. Okay. So now we saw about like what is emotional intelligence, why it is important, and how it is different from IQ or personality and all those things. So what impact it has? So the impact of EQ, how much it has on the professional success or the personal success, so how much it would be? The simple answer is a lot. EQ is the foundation for a lot of critical skills. There is a diagram here which shows like the foundation is the EQ, based on which there are a lot of skills that can be developed, like being flexible, having good communication skills, making decision, time management, being assertive, stress tolerance, anger management, building trust in relationships. So IQ is the foundation for all these skills. So until and unless the foundation is really strong, it is really difficult to have or improve or develop these critical skills. So that much importance it has when it comes to EQ. And it is the single biggest predictor of performance in the workplace and the strongest driver of leadership and personal excellence. So one classic example I want to mention here is about people, MS Dhoni. We know that he is a cool captain. So what makes him really special is like even if the game is losing or if it is winning, whatever it is, still he has the control. He never behaves out of the way. He knows he is always like level-headed. So this quality actually makes him a distinct athlete, right? So emotional intelligence it plays a very important role in the leadership skills. EQ is also critical to success in 58% of performance in all types of jobs. So MBA students, like you will be approaching a lot of people after you complete, and you will be meeting a lot of people and going to various types of jobs. So it is important for you to know that 58% of the success it is based on, the performance is based on EQ. And also there was a research done in the business school at the Queensland University of Australia. Again, they discovered that people who are low in EQ or job performance, they were able to match with high performance colleagues just by working only on their EQ. So I think that will give the clue that how much EQ can help somebody to reach heights. Okay, so I think that was brief about like what emotional intelligence is all about and its impact. Now let's see like what emotional intelligence skills are. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it has only 4 basic skills, okay, which can be categorized under 2 things, that is personal competence and social competence. So when I mentioned about the definition itself, I told that emotional intelligence is all about understanding and controlling emotions of your own and understanding the emotions of others. So it is about self and others. So when we talk about the skills as well, it is only about these two things, that is personal competence and social competence. So again, under personal competence, we have something called as self-awareness, self-management, which focuses primarily on the self. Social competence, it comes about social awareness and relationship management, which focus more on the other part. Okay. So personal competence. So personal competence, it is the ability to stay aware of one's own emotions and manage behavior and tendencies of the self. So personal competency focus more on the self. Next is social competence. It is the ability to understand other people's emotion, others' behavior, other motives in order to improve the quality of relationships. So now let's see in brief like what these 4 skills are. Okay. The first and foremost skill is self-awareness. Self-awareness, this is the ability to perceive our own emotions and movement and understand the tendencies across situations. So as I mentioned before, we are emotional creatures and we have a tendency to emotionally react to anything happening around us, right? So the self-awareness happens, or it can be developed only when we have self-reflection about how we behave in certain situations. This is the foundation skill. Why we call this as a foundation skill is because self-awareness is so much important that only based on this, all other skills can be developed. All the other 3 skills of EQ. So this is the foundation skill. And the only way to genuinely understand your emotion is to spend enough time thinking through them. And always remember, emotions always serve a purpose. Anything we do or anything we react, it has a purpose. Like we need to know what the purpose is exactly. And when we talk about self-awareness, it is not a big thing about like discovering some deep, dark secrets or going to the unconscious motives and all those things. It does not involve so much of complexities. Self-awareness, it is all about having a honest understanding about oneself. Like what really makes you get triggered or what makes you tick. Like when you're in a situation, when somebody is telling you something, what is triggering you? Like you're watching a TV and you feel that you're completely relaxed or you're enjoying a movie or something. So your parents come or your sibling comes, they just make a comment about you, and then after which you react in a very disproportionate way. So the trigger is like you need to know what really triggered you at that point of time, and is it only related to the person or is it something related to the comment he or she made. So this is called as self-awareness. Simple. Next, self-management. Again, so self-management, it is using the awareness skills, like what we mentioned in the self-awareness. So using the awareness skills of your emotions to stay more flexible and direct the behavior in a more positive way. For example, this is about managing our emotional reactions to situations and people. So this would come only by practice because it's a very continuous process. We learn certain skills, we develop like awareness about ourselves, we reflect ourselves, and then we try to have an understanding about our behaviors, and then we apply in each and every situation that we encounter. So only then the self-management skill can be developed. So this is more like a continuous process. And one important thing here is the real result of the self-management, it comes only from putting your momentary needs on hold to pursue larger and more important goals. It is not about only the immediate need gratification, but giving importance to the long-term goals. I want to again mention here about one example. I think few people might have heard about the movie Pursuit of Happiness. Well, if not, I would please suggest you to go and watch that movie, Pursuit of Happiness by Will Smith. Actually, Will Smith will try to do a business and he would face a lot of struggles in his life. I mean, he will face repeated failures, and he will have a lot of adversities in his life. His wife would leave and go, and he would go to the level of like bankrupt, and he will not have money in his hand, nothing. He will just have only $20, which he has to manage with his kid. Then he will take it. I mean, he will go through, I mean, a roller coaster of emotions, but still he will take a decision that he will join a stock brokerage training for 6 months. He will complete it with all these struggles, and then he'll be very successful. The reason for me to mention about this film is based on true events. So it is not just for the sake of mentioning about some movie, but it is based on true events, and it's very inspiring, and it gives us a proper understanding about managing oneself in stressful situations, and also about self-management. So if possible, please do watch that movie, Pursuit of Happiness. Okay? So this is about self-management. So now we are done with the personal competence, that is 2 skills. Next we are moving to the social competence, 2 skills. So under that, the first foremost skill would be like social awareness. Social awareness, this is the ability to accurately pick up emotions in other people and understand what is really going on with them. So this means perceiving what others think or feel, even if you don't feel the same way. Most of the times we make this mistake, like when something is disturbing or when something is triggering us, we get caught in our emotions and forget the other party. So that should not be done. So social awareness is all about picking up others' emotions and understanding things from their point of view. So in order to develop this skill, 2 things are very, very important, that is listening and observing. These are the most important elements. And again, it takes practice to really watch people as you interact and get a good sense of what they are feeling and thinking. I can just suggest few examples, like for example, most of the times when our friends are telling something, okay, our close friend is telling us about an issue or something with another person, just because we are emotionally connected with this person, we would just say that, okay, I'll stand by your side and I'll just support you. So here we are not taking the other person's point of view. Like the problem we do is, just because we are emotionally connected with somebody, the decisions that we make also, it's emotionally biased. So in that case, the social awareness will not happen. So this skill develops only when we are not emotionally biased and when we consider the other person's point of view as well. So that is about social awareness. Next, relationship management. This is the last important skill of emotional intelligence. So relationship management, it is the ability to use again the self-awareness skills of their own emotions and those of others as well to manage relationships successfully. People who manage relationships well are able to see the benefit of connecting with many different people, even those they are not fond of. I hope you all know about Indra Nooyi, Pepsi company. So once when she came back home, she wrote a thank you note to all the employees' parents, and the parents, they wrote back to her that they feel honored. And also Indra Nooyi, she told her employees that she sees her employees not as just a part of the company, but she respects them through their entire life for whatever he or she is. So this is a classic example of this relationship management. The simple formula is, if you want people to listen, you have to practice relationship management. There is a difference between relationship and interaction. Relationship is about, it is the matter of frequency, it is the quality, the depth, time spent with another person, which will actually qualify for a healthy relationship. So relationship management is very, very important, especially if you're getting into jobs and you're going to do business and also in like personal life. So this is the formula. The main formula that you have to remember is, if you want people to listen, you have to practice relationship management. Okay. So now we have seen the four core skills of emotional intelligence in brief. Now I just want to mention about very few strategies for each and every skill, so that you have an understanding and maybe you can try that. Okay, so first is like self-awareness strategies. As I told, the self-awareness strategies, it focuses more on the self. Okay, so first is quit treating your feelings as good or bad. We are born with emotions. We cannot get rid of emotions. So when we experience an emotion, never ever ever judge your emotions. Do not judge your emotions, because judging the emotions will not facilitate you to experience it in a proper way. So never judge the emotions. So that is the first part. When you experience something, just acknowledge yourself and understand that yes, you are going through an emotion. So quit treating your feelings as good or bad. There is nothing called as a good emotion or a bad emotion. Just emotions. That's it. Emotion. We have emotions and we have to feel the emotion. That's it. Next, observe the ripple effect from your emotions. We know that emotions are very powerful weapons, right? So, and when we can actually create a lot of burden within oneself, and it might come out